And now, scenes from an upcoming episode of Breaking Mayberry. I liked it a little bit more upon rewatch, but
you rewatched it?
Yeah, I rewatched both of these, and
oh, good for you, man.
Yeah, woo, good to go. You did the bare minimum for our podcast. You did literally the only thing you have to do for our show to exist. Good job.
I watched Three Bear Bears. Man, I watched We Bear Bears instead. That shit rules.
I also watched Three Bear Bears.
It's We Bear Bears, Marty, you ass.
Not the one I watched.
Oh.
In most Andy Griffith episodes, we would open with Andy getting the radio report, and then he would go and tell Barney about the radio report, and then Barney would go, okay, cool, well, I'm going to go fishing with Floyd. Floyd and I are going to drive away now. I'll tell Floyd about the radio report while we're there, and then we would get a scene of, like, the convicts wandering through the forest, talking, and they would all, like, very clearly express, we are the convicts, and they would tell each other.
And then Opie would tell Andy about this cool new toy car he got, and Andy would be like, oh, yeah? And Opie's like, yeah, I bet it's better than a regular car, and Andy would be like, oh, I think it might be. And then cut back to them fishing. Yeah, 100%. There would be like a solid 3-minute monologue of Floyd talking about how creamsicles are neat. Like, and at the very end, there would be the collision. Like,
and then someone would get mauled by a cougar.
Yeah, exactly.
And then an animal attack would happen just to solve everything.
Andy would just basically, like, come in and be like, hey, all the convicts, come walk forward 2 steps, and then they would, and the floor would collapse, and he'd be like, oh, well, yeah, I know from talking to Connor O'Malley, he hasn't worked on those floors in years, and they were any minute from giving out. And, yeah, I just Doctor Who'd our way out of this, more or less.
And then with that third one who tried to escape, he'd be like, oh, don't run through that tunnel. If you go through that tunnel, I won't be able to catch you. And then they'll run and they'll hit smack into the stone wall because it turns out it wasn't a tunnel at all. It was just a painting of a tunnel that Andy painted into the side of a cliff.
It is. Watching this show is kind of fascinating in a way of, like, it's like watching a child learn how to talk, except you're watching a bunch of drunk 1950s assholes learn how to write.
There's one bit I like here where the car drives off, Andy sees a bus, and then he checks his watch and just kind of smiles and nods. Just like, yep, the bus is on time. Like, it's irrelevant. It's just a simple character detail, but I loved it. I loved that he just saw the bus and decided just to check and then nod approvingly.
It has been established that, like, in this town, people just look at the bus. Like, there have been dudes just hanging out and they've just been like, oh shit, you see that? It's the 315. Anyone getting off of it? No. That's cool though. It's cool to see buses.
It's cool though, right? Like, you knew what time it was going to show up, and then it became that time, and then the bus showed up. I mean, really, just a miracle of engineering.
Steve, get over here. Get the fuck over here. Check it out. The 5 o'clock from Raleigh's green this time. They must have changed buses.
Oh, shit. Oh, you know what? I got a cousin up in Greyhound who works for Greyhound, and he told me that they bring in the Model 5300 out of rotation. Turns out there's something wrong with the brakes. Fuck you, Charlie. We all know that you're lying about your cousin that works for Greyhound. No, I got a cousin that works for Greyhound.
You know what I heard? Last week, the 2 p.m. came in at 2:12. 2:12. The state of this world.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me with that shit?
Why do our guys have New York accents?